Hi, this is Tonia, your girl from the Phenomenon Experience. Did you guys miss me? I know you did. Thank you for all the reviews that you had, and I want to thank everybody for just giving me and Dr. Kreslin some love on Facebook. It was really phenomenal. But today I have someone that's very cool. I think he is. But he's a chief strategist, so he's probably going to tell us what that actually means. So, remember one of my earlier podcasts, I said that some bridges are made to be burned, but there are some connections that are made to be a pathway to get you to your success. Well, I think this next guest that I have on the show will be a pathway to get you to your next success. His name is Mr. Rodney Pennywell. So, I want to welcome Mr. Rodney Pennywell to the Phenomenon Experience.
Thank you, Miss Phenomenon, Miss LaTonia. Really good to have me here, and I really appreciate being your guest tonight.
Well, good. I want to tell the guests that I don't know if they remember that they're walking through this experience with me. So the people that I have on the show are actually going to push me to get to my next level. And so one of the things that I found interesting about you is I met him from a friend, through a friend, and it was actually through a business connection. And he gave me all these questions. He threw all these things out at me. Well, why do you want to be phenomenal? And why is it phenomenal? He even insulted me and told me that I was wasting my time doing something. But we're not going to talk about that today, but, I'll let him get away with that. Well, anyway, so he's going to talk to us today about what the chief strategist is and how it is that we can go from, I guess, as in the African-American world, we'll say started from the bottom, now we're here. So that's kind of what he does. He takes you from whatever level you're on, and he assesses where you are, and he grows you to where you need to be. So am I correct in kind of assessing?
Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Absolutely. So we're done?
No. So I want you guys to tell me after I get through with this interview, if he's somebody I need to have on my team. So we're going to let him talk and tell you exactly what he does. I think he does a lot of things, like even he threw out the name the mayor. He does some stuff with the mayor. Everybody kind of name drops every now and then. So, I'm letting him tell you a little bit about who he is and what he does and what he's going to do.
Wow. That's a mouthful. But anyway, I greatly appreciate you allow me to interact with your audience. I definitely appreciate the format of this show. And as a chief strategist, I think you set that up as the first thing I needed to address. As a chief strategist, I own my own company, Pennywell Development Company. Essentially, I'm a consultant. A lot of people don't know exactly what a consultant is because it's such a broad term. Even strategy, the word strategy is a pretty broad term. It is not industry specific, for example. And as a result, you have to be able to help people where they are, where they're going, and doing the things that will help them achieve their success. So one of the things that I think the primary importance of being a good chief strategist or a consultant, but certainly a chief strategist is being able to empathize. All right. So the first thing I like to do is understand what is a person, what are they about, what priorities do they have, what goals do they have, where are they going, and I also look into their track record to see if I can, in addition to listening to the words that they say, look at their history, look at their track record, and trying to opine where they may be going into the future. And most of us haven't been there. Most of us, it's a journey. We don't know exactly what that destination is going to look like. And because of that, we can oftentimes use help along the way that might, allow us to do course corrections, slight jaunts here, slight jaunt there. Instead of go around left, perhaps we go around right. It's all of this thing that allows us to find a way to successfully get to where we're going. And I think each one of us, like to have help doing that. And a chief strategist is a person who simply helps you get to where you're going with a little less risk, hopefully with a little more surety, and hopefully with a little more fun.
Great, awesome. So would you say that a person that kind of wants to, whether it's start a business or become a ballerina or a singer or whatever, would you say that they should engage with someone like you before they start out, or should they engage with you once they start what they're doing?
Sure. So let me give you a kind of a snapshot of some of the clients that I have and I work with. Every consultant is different. They have different experiences, different backgrounds, and so forth. So before you ever reach out and look for a consultant, you ought to kind of have an idea of what kind of consultant that you're looking for, what kind of experience that you're looking for. There are all kinds of consultants. There's consultants for what's known as business startups. There's consultants for venture capitalism, if you're trying to raise money, for example. There's transition startups where things are in a great turmoil, or industry turmoil, those types of things. There's turnaround artists, those types of things. There's strategists for logistics management, supply chain management, corporate merger and acquisition. So there's quite a range of different strategists that or consultants that you can find for various things. Me personally, my background has been a potpourri of military background. I was an Army aviator. I did a few things in the Army. I only spent 9 years in the Army. Didn't retire as some of these other people, but I do interface with quite a number of people that are career military people and at the levels of colonel, lieutenant colonel, and all generals, General 1, General 2, 3, and 4-star generals. So I interface with quite a few of those people, particularly when they're looking to make transition just in career aspects. They're coming out of the military perhaps, and maybe they want to go back into industry because they've got, as one 2-star told me, I've got a lot left in my tank and I like to do some things. So people need help, even people who have been wildly successful in their former careers. That success could look like leaving the military in this instance and being an executive in some Fortune 50, Fortune 100 company, or it could be starting up a business. Okay, and so in those cases, they would need startup assistance, like many of your listeners might need, because there's quite a few people that are working at some capacity right now, and they're saying, I can do, and they fill in the blank, X, Y, Z. Better than somebody else, or I have a passion to do X, Y, Z. I just wished I knew where to start, what to do, because I know that I can do it if I just had a few of these things come together so that I could in fact do it. Realize my goal, realize my passion, do something, and contribute in a way that's perhaps more satisfying than the way I'm contributing now. And so people need that all the time. And as a result of that, I do business coaching for an organization here in the area called the WBCNNA. And that's the Women's and Business Center of North Alabama. And that's got an archaic name to it, dates all the way back to the early 70s when the government said, hey, we've got many women who could be entrepreneurs but need some assistance, and we need a forum to assist women in becoming entrepreneurs. We need that. And I think that's very important. And although I'm not a woman, I can help, women or anybody that's in the early stages of starting up a business. And of course, that oftentimes means that you need a business plan, and you need to figure out funding, and identify target customers and audience, marketing plans, and all kinds of other things like that. So that's kind of the things that I typically do, helping people figure out their startup plans, helping people to find funding, helping people write business plans or transition plans, that type of thing. I do that both commercially for industries that you would see every day, restaurants, manufacturing operations, those types service providing, those types of things, as well as I do it with the government. And there's so many different aspects of the government, whether it's missile defense or Homeland Security or FAA or TSA. These kinds of organizations all need support in one capacity or the other. And my background and with the government, working in missile defense and carrying a classification level, allows me to do those things.
Great. So do you do one-on-one business coaching? And I ask you that because you said something earlier. Sorry. You said that you actually can help someone transition from careers. So let's say that, I'm sitting in an organization, I'm just bored to death and just reached my max, or, oh, they're not paying me enough money, I know I'm better than this, this is just not for me. could I, pick up the phone and say, hey, Mr. Pennywell, I'm in this position. I really feel like, I shouldn't be here. Can you kind of sit down with me and go over, what it is that I need to do? Do you do things like that?
I absolutely do. Okay. So, I call that business coaching, and it's always related to business. I don't get involved with things like, child raising.
The ballerina you won't
that's right. Don't help with ballerinas. I don't help with child raising, and I don't help with marital counseling or anything like that. But when it relates to business and someone, because, many people as they go through, they leave college, they go into a job and, they have preconceived notions as to what that job should look like. They get in, there's a lot of newness. Hopefully they learn some things. And after a while, they're looking for new challenges. Things start to slow down. They start to understand the operations in the business. And usually, people start to say, hey, I want to try something new. I want to see something new. I want to do something new. I want to give more opportunities that are broader in nature. So when those kinds of things happen, I usually try to help people figure out what are their next steps and what are the ways that they can successfully explore what those next steps are.
Okay, so since you're not going to help the ballerina and you're going to help the business person, I'm going to talk to you after the break about a book that I think you and I talked about that you have, that you're writing right now, and it's called Perpetual Transition. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So after the break, we'll come back and we'll talk to Mr. Pennywell about his perpetual transition.
Phenomenon with Tonia will be back right after this.
Validar, Flames of Camelot, is the first installment of an epic trilogy that follows the exploits of this mythical warrior as he journeys through time and space. Available at tapepublishing.com.
Hi, this is Chance Glenn. The best way to support the show is to buy from Amazon.com through our website at morningbirdmedia.com. Everyone buys online these days, from school supplies to Christmas gifts, and everyone buys from Amazon.com. You can help us by clicking on the Amazon button on our webpage, then shopping as you normally do. There's no additional cost to do this, but a part of what you purchase goes towards helping the show. With it, we can keep this content coming the way you like it at morningbirdmedia.com.
Make your next event, workshop, or conference more powerful with improved networking for attendees and more useful analytics about those in attendance using Confab Analytics' new professional networking environment. Sign your event up with Confab Analytics and tailor our networking environment to suit your specific event. Your attendees simply download our free Confab app to their mobile device. Through the app, they are able to check in without waiting in line and can share key information electronically with fellow attendees. Using your custom Confab event portal, you can view and store analytics about your attendees, as well as send to them individually or as a group up-to-date information about everything going on at your event. They'll always know where the best networking opportunities are. By using Confab Analytics' professional networking environment, your attendees will have a better experience and be more likely to tell others about how good your event was. In turn, you'll have more meaningful data about your attendees so you can give them an even better experience next time. Confab maximizes your event by making you and your attendees part of the network and a whole lot more. For more information, visit confabanalytics.com or email sales@confabanalytics.com. Confab, connecting the most important part of the network, you.
The Morning Bird Media Network at morningbirdmedia.com.
Welcome back to Phenomenon. Now, here's Tonia.
Well, welcome back. Just a few housekeeping rules. Follow me on Facebook, Phenomenon. You also can go to the website, www.morningbirdmedia.com. Email me at phenomenon@morningbirdmedia.com. Also, if you're looking to purchase anything on Amazon, you can go to our website, and it doesn't cost you anything, as I think you probably heard in the commercial. So if there's a book out there, anything you want to purchase, just go to our website. Kind of helps us. And also, I'm going to say this again. Now, I've gotten a couple more reviews, but I need you to go to Phenomenon with Tonia, click on my little smiling face, go to reviews, and write a review. Okay? So now I'm going to stop fussing about that, and we'll get back to Mr. Pennywell and talking about his book. He has a book that's coming out, and I told you maybe on the first show that, you know, you guys are going to follow me through my process, and, you know, whether I rise or fall, you know, you're supposed to help me. So that's why you need to write a review anyway. But so now we got Mr. Pennywell on the show, and we're going to follow him with his book writing process. And he's going to tell us a little bit about what it is, when it is expected to come out, and what inspired him to kind of write the book. So can you talk to us about that?
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to your listeners about my first book that I'm still in the process of writing, still in the process of getting it reviewed and things of this nature, and hope to have it completed this year in 2016. So no later than the end of this year, hopefully this book will be minted and available. So that's what the goal and strategy is. I have quite a few people that I've run into or so forth that are in my corner in one way or the other. Some with very, very pointed critiques and criticisms, and pointing out things that need to be inserted or deleted or changed.
That's called motivation.
Yeah, so it's all kind of. So I'm getting plenty of these things. But the title of the book is Perpetual Transition, and it really kind of focuses on the fact that as we go through life, we are really always in a state of change. We're always in a state of transition, and oftentimes people will say, well, gee, I'm going to get my high school education. I'm going to get my undergraduates. I'm going to get my master's, my MBA, a JD, my PhD, or some sort of a specialty degree, and I'll be set. But in actuality, that is just a level, and we would probably be thrown out of our jobs at some point if we didn't, if you will, maintain our education, adapt to the changes that are coming away in our industry and things of those types of things. So there's always perpetual change, plus our own mindsets. Sometimes we get bored with where we are in our station in life. We want to have a change. We all need these different things. And I've talked to many, many people who have been very, very successful in one career or another. I mentioned the military, talking to, brigadier generals and major generals, lieutenant generals. Routinely I have interactions with persons who are wildly successful, and they're looking for a new mountain to challenge, a new mountain to conquer, a new challenge to take on, those types of things. And it don't have to be a general to feel these ways. You could be a person that's in an entry-level job, and all of a sudden you've gone through a year or 2 years in a particular relation. Now you need to figure out, well, where am I going? Am I going to sales? Am I going to research and development? Am I going to manufacturing or operations, those types of things? Where am I going to go? And as a result, it turns out that it's much more difficult for people to make change, even though they can easily see change for others. And this is really where the premise of the book is, and this is what the book is designed to do. It's designed to help people help themselves through their change. Okay, and you need internal help, you need help from your support structures, your networking, and you need help in terms of your mentality and those types of things. Even myself, I counsel people around the clock on the changes that they ought to make given the problems that they're having. But even for myself, I can tell myself the changes that I need, but oftentimes I need help seeing exactly which change do I need to make, where do I need to make, why do I need to make it, and maybe how I should make it. So even myself, who counsels people on how to change, sometimes needs help, oftentimes needs help from your support structure. So I talk in the book about, number one, the feelings that you should have, when you recognize change. What does change look like? Where is it coming, so that you can recognize it earlier? We oftentimes, as a people, we abhor change. We recoil from change. We often complain about change. But it's actually because of change that we have opportunities to step forward. We have opportunities to learn and get trained. We have opportunities to be a leader. We have opportunities to speak and address to other people and ally their concerns about change. And this is the ways that we move from an entry-level job into maybe a lead job, to a supervisor, to a manager, to a vice president, to a CEO. It's because we see change coming and we position ourselves to deal with that change perhaps a little faster than somebody else, maybe with a little more vigor than somebody else, maybe with a little more confidence, maybe with just a little less, scarediness, to use a word. Scarediness. I just pull that right out, with a little less anxiety. And like I said, I talk to people of all stations in life, from a person that's about to go to college and take on their first job, all the way to somebody who has spent 30 years in the military and about to come out. And the anxiety can oftentimes be the same.
Well, I think you've described a portion of the phenomenon experience. I'm not sure if you've seen or even if you've liked my phenomenon page, because if you haven't, then you need to. But there's this sketch on my page, and it talks about what the phenomenon experience is. So it talks about what you look like before the experience. Okay, so it's just who you are, or who you think you are. So then you're traveling through this phenomenon experience, which is engaging you, my future guests, my guests before, and then what you're going to look like out after that. So it's you go through this phenomenon process. So that kind of describes a little bit of your perpetual transition. So I think we're kind of connected. I think, you're going to kind of help me, if you don't keep insulting me about certain things. But, I think you could really help me with some things that's going on. We have some big things that we're trying to do. And I think that when you have the right people around you, and I think that was key when you said, surrounding yourself with, the correct people. When you have the right people around you, you can kind of propel yourself and position yourself to where you need to be. Because you're absolutely right. A lot of people have anxiety. So like the motto of my show is feel the fear and do it anyway. So I think that when you feel yourself feeling that fear is when you stop. Mm-hmm. So kind of talk to me a little bit about like I know you've felt fear, maybe
on occasion.
So what do you do?
I've heard it described to me at one time or the other.
I need to know, what do you do as being coined as the chief strategist? What do you do when you feel that fear? Yeah. What do you do?
Let me back up about 30 seconds and address something that I do think that we have a synergy on, and that has to do with feel the fear and then do it anyway. And I really, although it's not my motto, I do like that. Feel the fear, which oftentimes can be a form, and anxiety can be definitely, you can relate it to being fearful of something. And then do it anyway. And so I'd love to really talk just a little bit about that. Years and years ago, I want to say there was a Olympic gymnast, a Russian Olympic gymnast. Her name was Olga Korbut. And I want to say that she was like the first person to ever score a perfect 10 in a gymnastic event. I want to say it was like the floor exercise, if I remember right. And this is going back years. And people flocked to her, having seen the first perfect 10, I believe, in women's gymnastics and floor exercise, if I remember right. And they said, "What is it that you do in order to score that 10 like that?" And she says, and I think the commentator said, "You must practice, 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 I am sure." And she replied, "You must practice perfectly. Practice perfectly." And I remember that. I want to say I was quite young when I heard that, but I still remember that to this day. It's not that you want to feel the fear and do it anyway. It's more you want to feel the fear and do what's right anyway. And oftentimes it's what my purpose of the book is to help people know what's right to do anyway.
Ah, that's really good. That's good.
So let's talk a little bit about this. One thing oftentimes is that in our workplace, we oftentimes, I don't care who you are, you're going to run into frustrations in the workplace, and as a minority, we oftentimes may assuage the reason for our frustration, perhaps to be something race related, or it could be socioeconomic related. It could certainly be gender related, and oftentimes it might be educationally related. I went to this school and you went to that school, those types of things. So there's a lot of types of things, and there's a lot of times tension that can occur. So we really have to learn how to handle frustration in the workplace so that we don't let ourselves get to a point where we're, if you will, going postal, to use a common term. And because oftentimes our inability to handle workplace frustration, the things that come day in, day out, and it really doesn't matter what our socioeconomic status is, what our ethnicity is, our race, our gender. Often we just need to know how to deal with conflict, how to deal with uncertainty, how to deal with disappointment, that type of thing. Person A got promoted into a position, and I thought I should have been the person that should have been considered. These types of things. How do we deal with those types of things? How do we deal with growing our network and then and dealing with what's known as performance evaluations? Most of our corporate entities have some sort of a routine performance assessment, and a lot of times people go into these performance assessments blind. They'll go in, someone will say, here it is, and you come out of the performance assessment, and then you repeat and do this again, but you really aren't going anywhere. So you want to be able to more effectively deal with these types of transition, these types of things that are dots along the way.
You really kind of hit a spot in me when you talked about workplace frustration, because that's real. That's real. I know a lot of my listening audience can probably relate to that. I don't care how nice you are. I don't care how controlled you seem to be. There's also that workplace frustration that you either deal with inwardly or outwardly. And I think if we have the right tools, then you don't have the need to go postal, if you will. I mean, we've seen even kids in school, they get frustrated at school, whether they're bullied or whatever. Back in the day, it wasn't no bully for us. You say something crazy to us, my mom said you need to go punch somebody back out in the face. It was not, we did not seriously have to deal with bullying because we were raised to stand up for who we are and what we believed in. And I think that carried on in our adulthood, because, me, sweet, me, I even get a little bit frustrated in the workplace. But I think that's so real. And I think a lot of people deal with it kind of in the private place, And I think a lot of people will take it out either at home, on their family, or, they turn to, drugs, they try to numb it. And I think that really needs to be talked about and addressed more. So I'm glad you brought that up. And, I want, our listening audience to kind of, think about, how you deal with workplace frustration. Because no matter what color you are, like he said, no matter what gender you are, the age, whatever, that's real. So I want to thank you for kind of pointing that out.
Sure, and the part that I have multiple parts of the book that address these kinds of things. One of which is handling difficult situations. Another one is handling frustration in the workplace, and another component to it on the supportive side is developing your network. And this is what's really important, and people oftentimes don't know. They don't know the importance of A, having a well-established network, and B, how that can be a good insulating, be a safety belt, be a protector, be all kinds of things that you need to help move you from point A in your career to hopefully point B, C, D, and beyond in your career. And that's the important things of developing a network before you need the network. And that's something that, we were talking earlier, it's not practice, it's perfect practice. You know, so what you want to do is do the right things all the time with your network, so that network is there for you, so that they're giving you the support, and you're also able to give the network support.
Great. So I think this was a great conversation. I need you to tell the audience how to get in touch with you, where to find you. They might need some strategy, whether it's individual or whether it's a company. So tell them a little bit about how to find you, if you have a website,
yes.
Things like that.
So I'm on the web, and my web address is www.pennywelldevco, as in Pennywell Development Company, but it's pennywelldevco.com. And there you can find a list of my services, like proposal support and business strategy, business coaching, and I do motivational speaking as well for both college and in corporate settings, those types of things. And I do one-on-one counseling for people that are making transitions and things like that. And I also do free coaching for the WBCNA here in Huntsville for their Fast Track program, which helps you in 10-week time to develop from idea to a business plan if you go through it. So I'm very happy to do that.
Great. So I am excited that you were on the show. We're probably going to have a phase 2 of this as I go through my process, because right now you're just going to help me with strategy and tell me, what's wasting my time or not. I want you guys to know that he will tell you if that's just a waste of time or not.
You are a phenomenon, and we want to keep you that way.
Great. So again, you guys can follow me on Facebook at Phenomenon. You also can visit me at www.morningbirdmedia.com. Also, you need to go write a review. But anyway, it was great. Thank you, Mr. Pennywell.
Thank you.
I enjoyed you today. So like I said, we're going to have a phase 2. Now we're going to end this show because I need to talk to you about a little bit something. So we'll talk to you guys later. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
This has been Phenomenon with Tonia. To learn more about the show, visit morningbirdmedia.com, or you can email at phenomenon@morningbirdmedia.com. Also, check out Facebook under Phenomenon. Come back and join Tonia as she helps you feel the fear and do it anyway.